It's 93.3 WMMR. I'm Sara, welcoming back a guitarist of one of the biggest bands in heavy metal today, Lamb of God. They've got a new record out called Into Oblivion, which we will talk all about. Our guest has released music under his own name as well and has collaborated with a whole bunch of other musicians to create such a diverse discography. He's also an author. His memoir, Desolation, was published not long ago. We'll dive into that as well. And Lamb's got a show in Philadelphia, which brings him here. Welcome back, Mark Morton.
Hi, Sara.
How's it going?
What an intro. Thank you.
Happy record release weekend.
Right. Finally out.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Did you hear that the Black Crowes dropped an album the same day that Lamb dropped an album?
I knew that was coming. I haven't listened to their record yet. You probably remember, I'm a huge I love the Black Crowes. Recorded with a couple of the guys, Mark Ford and Steve Gorman, former Black Crowes, played on one of my solo records.
Right.
Love the Black Crowes. So, yeah, I was tickled when I heard we had an album coming out the same day.
Good company to be in, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Into Oblivion is the album, and I'm not blowing smoke, I swear. This album kicks ass.
It feels good. Yeah, it feels like, it's interesting because I'm so close to all of it that Lamb of God albums are always very, very genuine for us, that we really put what we have into them from how do I say this? From where we are in our personal lives, we convene and we put everything we have into the project, right? And so we're never, half throttle, but sometimes it just seems to gel in a way that it doesn't always other times, right? So this one, it just feels like it's connecting with people in a really, really visceral way, and it just feels like we kind of hit this current with what we were doing, and it's exciting to see it come out. It's been done for a while, so.
Really?
How
long?
I think it was mixed last August, so it was probably mixed like 6 months ago.
But you guys were on the road for a while, so.
Well, and there's, these days there's all this buildup from the label and from management and from, you have to tease all these tracks and all that kind of stuff. There's a structure of releasing records these days, and it kind of changes over time. So it's been done for a while, and we've been sitting on it. But I'm excited for everyone to hear the whole thing because you drop a track, then you drop another track. But for me, it's always about the collective piece. I mean, that's really how we view it when we're making it, when we're writing it, when we're sequencing it. We still very much believe in the album. You and I were talking before we came on to the interview about lost arts in music, and I think local radio is one of those things. I think, and so is the album format. But still still fighting to exist, and we very much approach things that way in an album oriented mindset.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's a hallmark of just rock and roll in general. Rock wants to hang on to the album format. And I like it too. I think it tells a story. And if I hear one song I like, I'm probably going to want to hear another one I like. So I might as well stick to the same album. Maybe that's just me being old fashioned. I don't know.
Well, there's a flow to it as well. And it's just like, it's like scenes or acts in a play, right? I mean,
Yes.
You get from the beginning to the end, and songs are like a cast of characters. I don't know. I could come up with all these corny analogies, but it's really how I see it, And so you don't really get the whole picture until you hear the whole record.
I know you're not on social media a ton, but have you taken a peek at the comments, the feedback, what the fans are saying online?
Just a little bit. The album came out yesterday. And so we've been doing all this build up this week, press, and we're going on tour. So I've been at home with my kids, two of which had the flu, and just juggling all the hats and all the roles and responsibilities. So I haven't. Once I get on the bus tomorrow and I can doom scroll a little bit, I'll see what the people are saying. But
then you'll absorb the feedback.
Yeah, but I'm told it's connecting really well.
A few tracks that jumped out at me: Parasocial Christ. Speaking of social media, looking at the lyrics and just feeling the tension in that song, I got to think that that's what that's about.
Yeah, it is. That's Randy led the lyrics in that one, but we've had a lot of conversations about just how we've created this whole other existence and this whole other thing. And you become confused. I think we as a society become confused about what the real world is. I mean, there's people that'll tell you if you when you leave social media or you turn the phone off or whatever, well, you can't ignore reality. And it's like, no, well, wait a minute. Reality is stepping off the front porch. It's not in this little box in my hand.
That just broke my brain a little bit.
Right?
Who is saying that to you?
Well, I mean, I think people will say, that you're burying your head in the sand if you're saying like, I don't want to see all this rage and all this bad news and all this kind of thing. Like I feel like that there is this growing sense of like people feel obligated to be involved in all these horrible things or all this whatever the thing of the day is in the news and all that kind of thing.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, and
that whole attitude.
Right, and it's just like, I don't know, man, like just go outside.
That's real life.
Yeah.
Blunt Force Blues is another one. It's so creepy, and forgive me, I'm not a musician, but in the breakdown, there's this like scrapey staccato part that's just like, and it like made me smile. I just love when a song is fun to listen to.
Yeah, I think, on this record, I think we collectively were going back through our discography. This is our 10th record.
Crazy.
And it's crazy. And that's such a huge body of work. And I think for a band like us to make a 10th record, you have to feel like you have something to add to. You almost have to honor the discography, right? There's this body of work, and you just don't want to put just anything in there. So we were really kind of going back and thinking about the different eras and phases of the band, and trying to be really diverse and eclectic with what we put into this group of songs, and maybe touch a little bit in each era of the band. So I was going back and listening to, instead of going back and listening to the albums we made in 2003 and 2004, I was going back and listening to the music that I was listening to when we made those albums, right? So the things that were inspiring the early albums for me as a writer, that's what I went back and kind of reconnected with to see how I would interpret that now, 25 or whatever.
What were some of
years
those?
later? The Haunted, Meshuggah,
Nice.
At the Gates, a lot of Swedish stuff for me.
All right.
Yeah.
That definitely comes through.
Yeah.
Something else that comes through is, I'm a longtime Lamb of God fan, and it's aggressive. All of your albums are, but it's this interesting where before it felt like I'm pissed off at the world, young man sort of anger. Now it's oh God, I am like worried for where the world is going, and we're kind of in trouble, and that's upsetting. It makes me angry.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe that I'm getting. Am I on point with that?
No, I think you are. I think it's, it's about the context of the project, right? Because it's a heavy metal record. So it would be maybe off-brand and a little maybe off-putting to try and write these optimistic songs of serenity and joy, even though, there's a lot of that. Certainly for me and Randy, who writes the majority of the lyrics, Randy and I write the lyrics. We're in great places in our lives personally, and we talk about that. So how do we, but there's plenty to get mad at, right? So it's just about finding that balance. Realize we're making a heavy metal record. Let's write about dark things. And we live in a day and age where there's no shortage of scary, dark, doomy things to write about. But it's nice to put that down and, like I said, go back into the real world. There's a lot of things to be happy about, including taking this stuff out on the road, because I think I've told you this before, but it's one of the greatest things about what we do is when the lights come up and it's the first song taken off and the hands are in the air and the eyes are wide and the mouths are open and everyone's screaming and smiling, and I see dads with their daughters on the front rail, hands in the air, screaming the words together. I mean, it's just to be a part of something that creates that point of connection, that creates that opportunity for people to make memories together, that takes this room and fills it full of joy and energy. And then everyone leaves and they go out into their lives and they carry that with them. And I get to be a part of the antenna that brings that through. That's like one of the greatest honors of my entire existence, my whole life, man. So it's like, I can write about some scary, dark stuff, but ultimately it just turns into this incredible moment of joy. And that's the coolest thing about what we do.
That energy you described, that is real life.
That's
For the people
real
who
life.
think it's on the phone, no, it ain't. It's going to be at the TLA.
No,
That's where it's going to be.
Especially at the TLA. Wow, it's so cool to come back to Philly. I was telling my manager on the way over here that we were coming up here when we were a van and trailer band and sleeping on people's floors and playing in, frankly, abandoned warehouses where people were stealing electricity and putting on their own shows. This is in like 97, 98 in Philly. People thought we were from Philadelphia. We were here so much, and
home away from home for you guys.
And we repped Philly so hard, on through like Philadelphia and the whole DVD days and all that stuff. So really, really special city for us. And tomorrow is going to be really cool to play such a small room and make it feel like the old days again.
You announced it a few days ago. Everyone freaked out. The tickets were really cheap. You had to get on this like lottery thing. And I think the room is only 1,200 cap. So it's like you said, you've played rooms that small in Philly, but God, when was the last time? Probably over 20 years ago.
I mean, probably when we played the Troc in 2004, where we filmed the Philadelphia DVD. That would be, and I think TLA is smaller than the Troc.
Yes, it is. Not by too much, but yeah. It's South Street doesn't stand a chance. That's all I'm saying. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I imagine we're going to hear a lot of the new songs.
Yeah, a handful of them for sure. Yeah.
Anything else you can reveal?
A bunch of old stuff that we haven't played in a while. Oh. Yeah. We dug in deep and played some stuff that had just kind of been shelved for a bit, just because they have, not for any real reason. And we've been rehearsing more than normal. We always rehearse, but this time we kind of made a deliberate effort to come out real prepped and real tight with the old stuff.
You rehearse in Virginia?
Yeah, we do.
Nice. Well, complete 180 from the TLA. You played Back to the Beginning last summer.
We did.
How incredible was that?
I mean, I mean it when I say it's just really a career highlight. I mean, one of the coolest things in a career full of incredible, cool moments and opportunities and Back to the Beginning is a highlight for sure.
Take us through some of the highlights of that weekend. I'm sure you've talked about them before, but I was here in Philly watching the whole thing, and I could feel the energy from across the ocean. It was insane.
So it was an interesting thing for us because we weren't mobilized as a band. So that means we weren't working. We didn't have a crew put together. We didn't have all our gear out and about. And most of those bands were on tour. We were not. So we had to kind of cobble together this rough backline to fly over to England and see who we could come get to fill in a few very limited crew for us. So in that sense, it was a little bit of a scurry, which we certainly didn't mind because we knew what the objective was, right? So we knew what was at the end of it. So it was a little frantic in that sense on the prep side. And it was very throw and go, we call it, which is where you just kind of put your gear up and you play. There's no line check, no sound check.
None?
No.
What?
It was crazy. So we had a few technical issues, but we knew we would. And so everyone was just kind of rocking with it. And, most of that stuff you could probably, even knowing this, whoever's listening to this could go back and maybe you won't even pick up on the fact that we were like having to fix issues like during the first song, like on the fly. So in that sense, it was challenging and fun. But that's nothing. I'd do that every time, 10 times in a row to be able to get to do what we did. So it's just to be in the presence of the biggest bands in hard rock and heavy metal and to see everybody mingling around and
not just in the presence of, but you are one of them.
Well, thank you. But it just felt like, when you're, when you're in high school and you're like a freshman or sophomore and the cool kids invite you to the lunch table for the first time, you know what I mean? It's what it felt like. We were just like at the cool kids table.
That's so cool.
And it was great. We had a great set. I talked to Tom Morello that day. I talked to Billy Corgan. I talked to Kirk Hammett. I met Jakey Lee for the first time, absolute guitar hero of mine.
Oh, that's amazing.
Saw the Gojira guys. It was just a really, really cool hang.
One of the cool things about that festival was that each band covered an Ozzy or a Sabbath song. So
Yeah.
Lamb did Children of the Grave.
We did.
Is that something that you got to choose?
It is.
I'm sure there were some fights maybe behind the scenes over who gets which songs.
No fights that I know of. I think there might have been a pecking order,
Sure.
but I was really pleased with how quickly we got the list, actually. There were more songs on the list than I might have imagined we would get to pick from. And we felt great about picking that song, and we were excited to do it. So much so, in fact, that we recorded it.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is on demand. It's on Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff. Was it pressed to physical ever?
I don't know.
Can we make that a goal for 2026, management in the corner?
Manager says not yet.
Damn it. It's Mark Morton of Lamb of God. In 2024, you published Desolation, a heavy metal memoir,
There it is.
co-written by Ben Opipari. And I had so much fun doing the book release event with you in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was
And-
really cool. I appreciated you doing that with me.
Yeah. And Powerhouse was such a cool spot.
Yeah,
Like,
really, it was great.
I need to get back up there. It was, and the people there were cool. Shout out to Powerhouse in Brooklyn. But Ben, before that event, I reached out to him just to say, hey, I'm doing this event. I saw you co-wrote the book, just looking for some info because I knew there was a Q&A portion. And he gave me some info that was really helpful. And he also said, Mark will probably tell you that I made him a better writer, but working with Mark made me a better person.
Oh, that's a lovely thing to say.
That was so sweet.
Ben's a sweet guy. Yeah, he helped me out a lot. I would offer, because it's a point of pride for me, really. I wrote every word.
Sure.
Yeah, I wrote every word, which was a challenge because I don't type very well, and I didn't think about this when I agreed to do a book, that I can't type.
What does that mean?
That means I wrote 100,000 words.
With 2 fingers?
Maybe 4 fingers. Yeah.
You play the guitar. You can use all your fingers.
I typed okay in college, but that was a very, very long time ago, sir.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, it was a practical obstacle that I didn't consider when we got going. But Ben helped me a lot because I would write and then he would send stuff back and he'd like chop stuff out and rearrange stuff. And I'd be like, what are you doing? This is not how it goes. He's like, you have to make it read like a book, So after we gotten through a few chapters, I kind of started learning about, okay, there's a difference between how you would say something and how you would write something and finding a balance so it still feels personal because it is an autobiography. So I want you to read it and feel like it's coming from me, but it's also got to read at a pace and kind of in a structure that feels like a book. And he taught me how to do that. And that's really cool. And that's a skill that I'll probably never use again.
Never?
I don't know.
Oh, I really enjoyed it. So I hope
I got to live a little more and find something else to write about.
There's so many, in every memoir, you get all these like tidbits and things that you didn't know before. And I laughed out loud when I read the price of the very first guitar that you ever had.
$15.
$15.
Yep. $15 out of the Trading Post, which was like this newspaper. I'm sure they were everywhere. They were in Virginia, but they're probably up here as well. But just this printed newspaper where local people would put basically classified ads, all confined to a newspaper. Yeah, and I found a nylon string acoustic guitar for $15, and we had to drive like 30 minutes to get it.
I'd say the ROI is pretty good on that. $15.
Yeah,
How old
right.
were you?
Right. I was 12.
Oh gosh,
Yeah, I was 12 years old.
I loved that story.
Yeah.
I also really related to all of these personal paradoxes that you wrote about in the book where you feel really introverted, but you want to reveal yourself through your art and your career, and the fact that you enjoy the chaos and the entropy of being on the road, but you also really appreciate the slower lifestyle of Virginia where you're from and where you still live, and being out in nature. And even in like Lamb's music sonically, you have like thrash and like death metal and the technicality of that mixed with the chaos of the punk and hardcore influence that you all bring to it. And I'm sure you're not the only person that feels that way. It seemed like in the book, it was just like something that came through a lot and it's something that I related to.
Yeah. Well, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. It's, I think it was just about finding music became for me this safe space where before that, like, I sucked at sports. All my friends were good at skateboarding. They were riding ramps and stuff. I was terrible at all that stuff. I played baseball. They started throwing the ball real fast. I was scared of the ball. It's like all this, like nothing was really working for me. And then I got that guitar and I just went in my room and just didn't come out for like 2 years, it feels like, because it was just everything. And it was really everything. And it still is, it's not everything. I have children. I have a wife. I have this career. It's just, but at the end of it all, that guitar in my hands is when I feel really safest. Yeah.
It was also in the book that I learned that it was actually your idea to change the name of the band from Burn the Priest to Lamb of God.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was definitely beating that drum harder than anybody for sure. Yeah.
Was it also your idea to change the logo of the band? Do we have you to thank?
Such a controversy around the logo.
I don't understand why, but now I'm even more fascinated because people are like throwing a fit over it. I think it's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah.
And I just okay. The old logo was, and it's not gone. We say it's on every t-shirt walking around. It's not like we buried it. It just felt a little dated, you know what I mean? And we feel really fresh about this record, and we were just like, let's do something aesthetically, something graphically that feels unique for this project. And then everyone's like, this cover sucks. It looks like 2000s art. The logo sucks. And I'm just like, well, this is great, because if the worst thing they have to say about the record is that they don't like the logo.
Yeah, I don't hear you talking about the music that way.
Then we're in great shape, you know?
Also, the aughts are totally back.
Yeah,
like,
right,
early
right.
2000s are back, so anyone who has an issue with it can shut the hell up as far as I'm concerned. Last year, we got another solo album from you.
Yeah.
Called Without the Pain. Your solo music, different from Lamb of God sonically, very much so. I imagine that the production process is different as well. First solo album, second solo album were like 5 or 6 years apart.
Yeah.
So what were some lessons learned from the first go round that you put into practice for this record?
Oh, that's a great question. I think the biggest thing that I took away, it's hard to characterize. I took away so much from that first solo record. It was like such big moments. Working with Chester on Cross Off was huge, and working with Mark Lanigan.
I know this is huge influence for you, Mark Lanigan.
Oh yeah, and just became a friend, and so on that Anesthetic record, I really gained. Going into that, I didn't even know if like will anyone even like have a conversation with me about me making a solo record where I'm not the front man, but I'm the songwriter, and I'm organizing all these people, and it's just sort of this like group of different singers on different songs, and you know, how do I pitch that to anyone, particularly an audience? You know, how do they wrap their head around this? And I walked away from that with some really, really special moments and even some success. I mean, Cross Off was a big song, charted at Active Rock Radio, and you guys were big supporters of it here. And so walking away from that, I was like, had this crazy moments around that, and got to work with Chester so shortly before he passed, which was just great experiences. And then, you know, fast forward a few years into going in to make Without the Pain. And I think because of my experience on the Anesthetic record, I had the confidence to make the record that like felt most like me, instead of trying to like stay in any certain lane or stay where I felt like I would have, you know, ears on it. I just made the record that I would listen to at home. Not that I don't connect with Anesthetic. I mean, I wrote those songs and I'm super proud of that work. But when I'm at home on Sunday morning, the music I listen to is what you hear on Without the Pain. And a lot of those artists are the people I'm listening to, you know, just for fun on my own, you know, in my truck or whatever. Nikki Lane.
Love her.
Yeah, Nikki Lane would be a star if she were in the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s, the 80s, the 90s. It doesn't matter. You could stick her in any era, any decade. And, you know, Lizzie's that way too. Lizzie, you could put Lizzie anywhere.
Oh my God.
You could pick Lizzie up and drop her in 1968 and she'd be an absolute superstar, you know.
So talented.
Nikki's that way too. Yeah, and I got to work with Charlie from Blackberry Smoke. Jason Isbell played on the record. Like all these great people just kind of, it felt like that, you know, that Stone Soup thing where it's just like, you know, you get one person in and then someone else comes and puts something in and all of a sudden it just turns into this awesome thing. And
full pot of soup.
Yeah. So I'm super proud of that one. And very diverse stylistically for sure.
Yeah. Another one I liked was the song you did with Troy Sanders, Nocturnal Sun.
Yeah. That was cool. Definitely the heaviest thing on the record for sure. Troy's an old friend. I mean, cool to work with him. And I'd worked with him too, not long before that on a Mastodon song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lamb of God and Mastodon did a co-brand thing for a tour we did a couple of years ago. So
that was a long tour too.
It was.
I feel like it went on forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah,
I saw it up in Reading. It kicked ass.
Yeah.
But you guys, you're besties now.
Where'd you see it?
Reading, Pennsylvania.
Okay, cool.
Santander Arena. I think you'll be back there next month with Lamb of God. Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask about the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Because Metallica announce their residency there
Cool.
in the fall. And whenever a big artist announces something at the Sphere, it reignites the conversation of who should play, what would be a great act there, what should we put in there. Have you seen it? Do you have any thoughts on it?
I've only driven by it.
Okay.
I've never seen a show there. I really, really wanted to see Dead and Company there, which I don't know what they're going to do now because Bob passed. But,
Yeah. My husband saw it twice.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I would have loved to have caught that. I hope they keep going.
Yeah.
They should. That's my vote. They should.
Okay.
It's bigger than any person.
Yeah.
Even Bob or Jerry, it's bigger.
John Mayer will make it happen.
Yeah.
He'll make it happen.
He does such a great job with that.
He does.
He does such a great job honoring Jerry's playing. It's incredible. So the Sphere, I don't know. I've only ever driven past it.
My vote is Tool.
Okay. That makes sense.
I feel like that would be
that
very
makes
trippy.
sense.
I don't know if I could stand up out of the seat.
Yeah, they
It
could
might
do
make me
that.
dizzy.
They could do that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think Metallica's great. I mean, that's fantastic. A destination show for Metallica. You know they're going to pull out all the stops too. It's going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the production is insane in a regular stadium. So seeing them in the Sphere is going to be great. Is
Yeah.
that something that is of interest to you at all? Like playing there?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know.
No budget, no nothing. Like,
I don't know. No, I don't know. I don't know if I'd see that in our future.
no, feels overwhelming.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I'm into the TLA.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm into that.
I'm into that too.
I'm pretty excited about that.
And speaking of, I know you got a show to do. Mark, I'm so glad that we could catch up. And like I said before, I've read your book. I follow you on social media. And these glimpses of your life when you're not on the road, I get the vibe that you have so much gratitude at this point in your life.
Yeah.
What does gratitude look like to you right now?
It looks like being present. And just, yeah, what a great question. Gratitude is about, like, for me, it's about wanting what I have and not having what I want. You know what I mean? But wanting what I have and being present for where I'm at and enjoying being in a really, really cool radio station, talking to a friend about music. And just, you know, there's so much I could choose to worry about, but there's so many great things going on. And so I don't do the best at this every day, but I just try and be an observer and try and be present and try and, like, honor, because really all these moments are singular, right? So if I'm already fast forwarding to the next thing in my mind, which is kind of my default setting, then I miss the one thing that's happening. Like, so to, you know, for the TLA show, I just want to be present for it, because that's a singular event, that group of people in that room at that moment in time, like, honor how unique and special that is and honor the joy that's happening in there and be a present observer, grateful to be, like, a part of channeling all that. I want to live there.
I love that. Mark Morton, Lamb of God, the new album Into Oblivion is out now. Thanks so much for coming back to MMR.
Thanks for having me. Love being here.